Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya-kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukarastu Andhakaro Vai Rukarastu Nivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvat Gururitya Vidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvisha Vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are at the end of the Nididhyasanam review, and the stage we are at is the dharana and pratyahara. So we will talk about pratyahara and dharana today. So what we saw last time very briefly, that these four stages of the yogic meditation, namely pratyahara, dharana, dhyanam and samadhi, form a group to get a grasp of our own reality. And so the pratyahara is from the standpoint of the object itself, Vishaya Drishti. Dharana is the understanding of the Vishaya from a space perspective, called Desha Drishti. Dhyanam correspondingly is the aspect of the Vishaya from a time perspective, Kala Drishti. And then Samadhi is to put all three of them integrated, which are Vishaya Drishti, Desha Drishti and Kala Drishti. So this is the logic of these four steps of the Ashtanga Yoga. So we are reviewing the Pratyahara, and according to the the yogic meditation, Pratyahara means that you observe things by bringing your drishti from outside to inside. To review, your mind also should be withdrawn. So the withdrawal is called pratyahara. So we saw that. And we saw that from a yogic perspective. Now today let us finish up the understanding from a Vedantic perspective. So to see that, it is important to review the fundamental premise of Advaita Vedanta. So this would be good to keep in mind. This is really for all the steps and for including this step of the Pratyahara, which is this. It is not necessary, it's neither necessary nor possible for you to eliminate experiences. This is the premise of Advaita Vedanta. When we talk about what is our sampradaya. So this is what Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamas Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So this sampradaya, the parampara, which is all the way from Ishvara himself, needs to be understood exactly what it means. So the premise of this understanding is that it is neither necessary nor possible to eliminate experiences from our life in order to gain freedom. So the word moksha is used, which is kind of like is just a word, but the real meaning of moksha is to gain complete independence from any dependency. We are so dependent on the life, so we all know that. Everything is, you have to do this, otherwise it won't happen, etc., etc. From birth to death, we are dependent on things, and the dependency doesn't make us happy. If we are depending on somebody and we are okay with it, and that can happen in a short span of life, like for example at the childhood. So in the childhood, the mother and the father, you have to depend on them, and here it's okay with it. But as soon as you become cognizant of your happiness, you want to be independent. So anyway, the premise of Vedanta is that in order to be independent, you cannot eliminate experiences. In order to gain moksha, if you want to look at technically, in order to gain moksha, you cannot eliminate all experiences. And this is where we differ from the Buddhistic view of Shunyavadam, that everything has to be eliminated, it should be just shunyam, nothing at all. And then you will be nirvanam, you will reach, nirvanam is the Buddhist word for moksha. So this is not the Vedantic view. So then what is the Vedantic view? The Vedantic view is, the teaching, the vision of the Vedanta is, there is something real and something that appears to be real but it isn't. And what is real is ananda, is joy. Unadulterated joy, which is called moksha, which is independence. And that is you. That is your real nature. That is the Atma. That is the Paramatma. And any time your mistake is for you not to recognize it, but to understand that what is not you is you, there are problems. So my taking myself to be anatma is the problem. And my taking myself to be the anatma gives rise to dependence. And the crux of that is, why do I do that? The reason I do that is because I don't know the truth. There's something which is obstructing my understanding. And as a result of that, I take something which is not real to be real. This is the mithya of the world. So the word mithya means not absence of reality, but a false sense of reality. Anyway, to put it all together in the standpoint of pratyahara, so the pratyahara from a Vedantic standpoint is, you cannot bring the outside world inside except for a short time. And that is given automatically to you at sleep, deep sleep time, when everything is withdrawn to yourself. You don't even have to try for it. But that's exactly what happens. But it is not permanent, it is not reality. It is simply the hidden nature of the outside world that gives you the pleasure of sleeping. So really speaking, fundamentally, you cannot eliminate experiences, because the very life is full of experiences. That is the very nature of the life. But moksha results in doing the viveka between Atma and Anatma, and to see that the outside world is nothing but my own reflection. It is not an independent set of experiences. Experiences means an independent set of things, Vishaya, etc. It appears to be outside, just like in a dream. Because the dream gives you that practice, that example, that reality to base your understanding on. So it is not necessary to eliminate it, neither is it possible to eliminate outside experiences. What is possible and sufficient for gaining moksha is to see that what appears to be outside is nothing but my own reflection. This is the premise of Vedanta. Not elimination, but falsification. Not the entire falsification, but the falsification of what is already false. To recognize it is falsification, and it leaves something that cannot be falsified, which is you. You cannot falsify yourself. It's not possible for you to say, I am not there. It's like saying, I cannot talk because I don't have any tongue. You're saying you don't have any tongue, so you have a tongue. So similarly, you cannot falsify yourself, but what needs to be falsified is falsified, and that is moksha. So therefore, pratyahara from a Vedantic standpoint is not elimination, not withdrawal, is to just see things as they are, but in the light of the teaching of what is true, what is not true. This is pointed out in the verse number 121 of Aparoksha Anubhuti, which is given in this Aparoksha Anubhuti book, and it says the following: Vishayeshu atmatam drishtva manasaschiti majjanam pratyaharaha sah vigneyaha abhyasaniyo mumukshubhi. Let me read that one more time. This is the verse, the shloka. If you want to just recite it with the same tone as we do Bhagavad Gita, it will go something like this. Vishveshvatmatam drishtva manasaschiti majjanam pratyaharasya vigneyaha abhyasniyo mumukshubhihi. So this is the Vedantic view of pratyahara. So he says, pratyaharaha saha vigneyaha. May you know the pratyahara to be this. And what do you mean by this? Vishayeshu atmatam drishtva. In the various things that you observe and you experience from morning to evening, everything. Vishaya, Vishaya, Vishaya. Here's the things, here's a table, here's my eyes, here's my thoughts, both Sukshma Sharira as well as Sthula Sharira, the whole set of experiences from waking up to going back to sleep. Everything is called Vishaya, Vishaya, Vishaya. Far, near, good, bad, solid, unreliable, people, everything. The whole shebang of experiences here included in the word Vishaya. So Vishayeshu atmatam drishtva. In the matter, so here's the seventh case, Vishayeshu. So means it is really not location. It's not a location, but it's you can even take it as location, because you can even take it as in the Vishaya. Or better thing would be in the subject of Vishaya, concerning the Vishaya, in the matter of Vishaya, Atmatam Drishtva, having seen that it is nothing but me alone. It is nearly nothing but me alone. And how is it me alone? Because anything which is not independently true, which does not have its independent reality, must depend on something else. Our classical example that if you see some forms in a clay pot, if you see the nature of the clay, or in the case of in this cup, for example, here there is a form of a cup, but the form of the cup is nothing but the metal itself that it is born from. That is dependent on the metal. Why? Because the cup is not a vastu. A vastu means the one which is something which is real. In this particular example, the vastu is the metal. And so the cup does not have any weight. The cup does not have any shine to it. The shine of the cup and the weight of the cup belongs to the metal. So similarly, the so-called outside things, if you really think about it, and if you follow the teaching of Vedanta, is not a vastu. The outside things are not a vastu. If they are not a vastu, then what are they? They appear like they are vastu. But they are really, the vastu of the outside things is the Atma. Just like the cup is really just a name and form on the vastu. It is the name and form of the vastu. So similarly, the outside things that you see, that you cognize and you take as experiences, does not really have a vastu. The vastu is you, the very Atma. And this example is seen in the dream. As a lot happens in the dream. There's a lot of reality in the dream. Apparent reality in the dream. But it is nothing but the conscious person who is smitten by nidra. Nidra meaning a very powerful force. It is not just hiding. You can just close your eyes and it hides the outside things. So nidra is not just hiding. It is a very powerful force that hides your reality and displays an alternate reality that completely confuses you. So the nidra is really the individual maya. Anyways, with respect to that, so here, going back to this verse, Vishayeshu Atmatam Drishtva, mean having seen. And how do I see this? Because I have to follow the logic of the Shastra. Logic of the Shastra is really Ishvara, God, calling you and says, please, please, I am, you are, and you and I are nothing but the same. My total independence is the same as your total independence. Please see it. And how do you see it? Vishayeshu atmatam drishtva. So he says, so this is really a beautiful verse. It says, Vishayeshu atmatam drishtva. Having seen the logic, the truth, the vision of this Shastra, manasas chiti majjanam. Manasas chiti majjanam. And he says, with your mind, may you immerse yourself in your own self. So see your own self as an ocean of consciousness. See it. It is the truth. It is yourself at all times. At least the ocean also is, even though it is huge and people, everything is immersed in it, but it is still very limited. Because in the land, the sea is not there. But in the case of Chidakasha, it is like an ocean which is always there. Just see it. You're always there. And you not as a jiva, but as the very conscious entity. See that you're always there. You're like a sea. see that you are a sea, S-E-E, first one, second one is S-C-A. You are the very sea. Don't you see that? Is there any one time when you are not there? Our mind rejects this because immediately says, no, I'm not all, when I was born, I was not there. But there you're referring to a jivatvam as your own very reality. Don't you see you're always there? And if you see an object, that object as a vishaya, if you see anything outside, that is also a superimposition on yourself. Just like if you see the cup is a superimposition on the metal. When you say, cup, bring me a cup, can you bring the cup without the metal? No. So the cup is a superimposition on the metal. Similarly, my external, so-called external experiences, vishayas, the things that I see, this is the trick of Maya. So the things that I see are nothing but superimposition on myself. May you develop an understanding of this through your mind. So therefore, it is not a question of elimination. Pratyahara is not elimination. You cannot do it. But it is falsification. And how? It is to see that the so-called cup is not a vastu, it depends on something else. So the outside things also depends on you. This is what it is saying. Vishayeshu atmatam drishtva. Drishtva means having seen this. Having seen this how? By following the very teaching of Vedanta, which says that really the so-called experiences are nothing but yourself. Just like in the dream, experiences are nothing but yourself. Vishayeshu atmatam drishtva manasas chiti majjanam. This is very beautiful. Manasas chiti majjanam. That may the form of your mind, because really the outside world or the inside world doesn't make any difference. The outside world means when your eyes are open and you are not only the eyes but all of the sense organs are fully engaged. This is the outside. Inside meaning that you can actually think about, when I was young, this is all thoughts. And then I used to play around this, that or the other. Now I'm getting old. These are nothing but thoughts, vasanas. But they also give you a kind of an externality because you keep thinking that you are somebody else than what you are. So manasas chiti majjanam. Majjanam means atmani janam. Means may you immerse. Here Swami Akhandananda ji has said, says doob jana. Means may you disappear in it. May the cup be disappearing into the metal. So that's the meaning of Madjanam. This is a very beautiful meditation. Really do this. That I am really seeing, I am nothing but the entire ocean But we fight it. Why? Because of my previous memories that I am just a jiva. What am I? This is exactly like saying that I am a room space and the space is enclosed within me, when just the opposite is true. The opposite being that the walls are enclosed by space, not the space is enclosed by the walls. So Madjanam. Even as a room space, see yourself that you are existing in the total space. Even while you are existing. Swami Akhandananda has given this example that supposing you have a piece of ice which is on the ocean. Even though it is separate, it is nothing but water itself. See that. So this is what it says. It says, Visheshu atmatam drishtva manasaschiti madjanam pratyahara vigneya. He says that is called pratyahara. Then he says abhyasaniyaha mumukshubhi. By mumukshu means moktumichu, means the one who desires total freedom, absolute freedom, not temporary freedom, is called a mumukshu. By that mumukshu, may this be abhyasaniya, may this be repeatedly done. May you practice this. So the practice is not a practice of doing anything, but bringing the truth of this fact onto yourself again and again. This is the nididhyasanam with respect to pratyahara. So with that we complete the understanding and the definition of pratyahara from a Vedantic standpoint, and then in the next one we will do dharana. Now we are nearing the completion of all the steps, so that should be over by the same token, by the same time when our Bhagavad Gita review also completes in the next few weeks. So I think it's turned out to be good that we are talking about the logic of meditation at the same in the same time frame as this short teaching of Shankarananda ji's Gita, which we will now begin for this class. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandatami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangha Padakrama Upanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyana Vastita Tatkatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam na Vidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So here there is a there is a grouping of verses which highlights another reason why we cannot feel sorry for ourselves and become sad. So this is kind of like a secondary reason. You might even say this is vyavaharika sat. See, the paramarthika sat was given in all the groupings of the verses starting with the 11 all the way up to number 30. The paramarthika sat means that you cannot kill the Atma. So don't get sad that you are being killed or that you are going to harm anybody else. Because the Atma cannot be harmed. It doesn't have any parts, it's the very basic Vastu itself, which is totally independent of anything you can do for it. You cannot harm space. So this is the primary teaching, which went up to number 30. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani na tvam shochitum arhasi. It does not deserve any kind of feeling sorry for others or for yourself. Shochitum arhasi na. You cannot, it doesn't deserve your sorrow. Absolutely not. For the reason of truth. Then, starting with verse number 31 all the way up to 37, which if I negotiate this, we might be able to do this whole grouping today, starts another reason. And this is not paramarthika sat, but vyavaharika sat. Vyavaharika sat is that even if you don't understand it, so the Krishna knows that Arjuna has not yet understood, as we saw. Even if you don't see the paramarthika sat, even from the standpoint of vyavahara, you should not worry. And why that is the case, he gives all the logic for it. That while you are in the process of understanding paramarthika sat, you have to lead your life in such a way that you do not lose your attention towards paramarthika sat. And the way to do that is to play the part. You know, the beautiful example that if you've taken a role in a movie, which is a pretend reality. Any kind of a play that you are doing is a pretend reality. But you've already signed up for it, right? Because there is a producer and they have a certain plot, a certain way of giving the story, and you have to play a part in it. Right in the middle of that, you cannot just walk out and say, this doesn't make any sense. This is just a pretend one. I am not going to participate in it. You spoil the very play. And you not only spoil the play, but you also create a problem for yourself. Because people will say, what kind of a crazy person it is. Hey, we all decided we are going to have a play. And you signed up for playing a role in it, and in the middle of that you say, this doesn't make any sense. I'm walking out. And so will you get another chance if you are acting so crazily? No. If you are not certain of who you are, it's very possible that we've seen this example that there's this lady who took the part that there was domestic violence, and so in the play, her husband slaps her and and pushes her and so on. And you've been playing that for a while and you get good money for it. And you do a good job of it. And in the middle of that, suddenly you say, I don't want to play this anymore. Well, first of all, even if you are not in the middle of the play, even if you are just saying, I'm not showing up for work today. So what happened? Why can't you come for work? And he says, no, I can't work because I'm tired of being slapped around. I can't do that anymore. Worse still, the play is on, audience is sitting there, in the middle of that you have, see, this is what happens. Sometimes people behave in a crazy way because they are very insecure within themselves. If there is a very good actor, he or she will not feel insecure. They'll say, you know what, I have taken on this role. My other life also is very good. Everything is going well. And I don't doing this. This is wonderful. But if you are insecure, supposing you are, supposing you are really having a problem in your marriage and you are not really happy with it and so on, then in the middle of the play, you say, I don't want to play this anymore. Then you create a problem in the play, and you create a problem for yourself because nobody will give you a part again, and in fact everybody else will berate you and say, what kind of a person was he? Completely spoiled the play. She must be having a lot of problems in real life. Isn't that what people will? This is the sense of this. This is, I may just for the sake of these ones, I may not stick to Swami Shankarananda's detailed commentary because I want to finish this whole portion. So if you don't mind, I will just give you the conceptual. Do this. I'll try to do some idea where this is all from Swami Shankarananda, and of course the interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita. So it's not as though I'm doing it on my own, but in the time period today, I'd like to finish up to this whole section. Okay, so that being the case, let's go through number 31 to 37. So he says, Swadharmamapi cha avekshya na vikampitum arhasi dharmadhi yudhyat shreyo anyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. So he says, Arjuna, you have a certain dharma in your life. And dharma means what here in this context? You have elected to play a role in this drama, in this life. That's exactly what it is. Our lives are nothing but a drama that you have chosen from your previous karmas to say, I want to be born here under these circumstances, and all the gifts given to me mean that I am either a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra. So Brahmana means that I want to just study without thinking about money. Kshatriya means that I want to study. Also, I want to make sure that I am well taken care of and I am a leader of the world. I want to really manage. This is Kshatriya. Vaishya means one that I am really interested in money and I am the service of the whole society. I want to keep the commerce going and I want to do it ethically. All of these are ethical. So this is the third one. And the Shudra says, I'm incapable. I'm getting C's in my places and I cannot really understand how to do coding and this, that or the other, but I can do very good manual labor. I can serve others. Very good. So you have a role that is based on your natural ability all the way from your previous life. This is the role that you've chosen. This is your dharma. So, if you follow the dharma, follow the role that you are naturally meant for, you will be happy. You'll not be paramarthika happy, that will come later, but I'm talking about from a transactional standpoint, you'll be very happy. And here he says that this kind of a war, which is dharmyat yuddhyat. Dharma means that one which is fought in the protection of the dharma. Dharma means that here there was Pandavas, there were Kauravas. Pandavas were very ethical people. Kauravas were unethical forces in the world. So there is a conflict between them. And your job is to protect that conflict and make sure that the good win against the bad. This is your dharma. In this fighting of the dharma, if you play this role well, you'll be very happy. And you will be happy temporarily perhaps, because in the meantime you should continue to understand what is Paramarthika Sat. As I've been saying all along, all the way up to Veda Vinashinam Nityam, etc. But even to get that, you have to maintain a logic. Like, we can even postulate some things. Supposing you want to study Vedanta. Okay, so let's just postulate that to kind of like a contrived situation. And you want to study Vedanta means that I find there is something really very beautiful here and I want to really rearrange my life so that I get to the truth of it. Because before that I didn't know about these beautiful truths, but now I know it and I want to really study it. Okay, wonderful, study it. But while you are studying it, what's your lifestyle be? Your lifestyle should be whatever it is that you have chosen to participate in, you cannot disturb that. Why can't I disturb it? I think I've decided I am just going to give up my other things and study this. Well, how about the other things? Will they not create a problem for you? Well, I don't care about that. You should care about it because here's the situation. Supposing you have some responsibilities, supposing you have some children, and you've chosen to be married, to have children, and so on, and all of a sudden you say, I am not going to really do anything to do with the kids, let my spouse handle the kids. I am going. No. Why? Because there will be pushbacks. There will be, the whole society will look upon you and say, how can you walk out? You've given up on the children. No, let the spouse take care of it. She cannot take care of it, or he cannot take care of it. all alone. He needed you to help. So therefore your own study will be highly disturbed, because you will get everybody's. And this is exactly what is going to come in this one. I'm just giving you a fast track version of that. So your own study would be disturbed. You cannot do that. So the better thing would be, you need to find, while you are studying, you need to be making sure that your dharma, your role in life that you have chosen, is fulfilled. And so here he says that this is a dharmic yuddha, and for this it is very fortunate that you are well capable of doing it. Dharmic yuddha means dharmic war, a very purposeful war between good and bad, and you have trained to be a leader of the good. You better go through with it. This is your dharma. Otherwise you cannot do the study. And here some other things are pointed out in number 32, which is what we did last time, I think. Yadrichaya chopapannam swargadwaram apavritam sukhinaha kshatriya partha labante yuddham idrisham. He says, not only, so this is the carrot and stick argument that Sri Krishna is given to Arjuna. Carrot and stick. The stick is, if you don't fight this the way you should be doing it, you'll have a lot of problems. It's just like walking out of the marriage and saying, I am taking sannyasa. So this happens all the time. I remember reading a book on some Mahatma, and somebody had approached the Mahatma and said, I think it was Ramana Maharshi, and said, I need permission to take sannyasa. Please give me sannyasa. So any guru will not just say, okay, you've been attending classes, so you can just give up everything. No. You'll have to ask the person. Mahatma is not an unreasonable person. So Ramana Maharshi said, why do you want sannyasa? So he says, my daily life, my family life is becoming a big burden. So he says, no. I will not give you sannyasa for that reason. You make your life happy again, and then come back to me, and then I will give you sannyasa. This is a recorded history. This happens all the time. So that's exactly what he's saying. So there is a carrot and a stick. And here he's talking about carrot. In number 32, he says, Yadrichaya chopapannam swargadwaram apavritam sukhinaha kshatriya partha labante yuddhamidrisham. Excuse me. He says, this kind of a war doesn't come along every day. And you have a great opportunity to participate in it, because if you, and this is yadrichaya. Yadrichaya means you didn't ask for it. It was given to you. It's the best kind of a war. That was imposed on you. And if you follow through with this, And if you were to be unsuccessful, do the best you can, but if you are unsuccessful, Swargadwaram Upavritam, the rest of your life and the afterlife, the door for it, the gate for it will be open for you. I was reading this Sanskrit from Swami Shankarananda ji, and there is one word which I did not know this, but in the Hindi translation it made it clear. So this is on page 82 for talking about the verse number 32, Yadrichaya. So he says, He Partha Prithaputra Yadrichaya eva upapannam ayatna praptam. Ayatna praptam means without any effort. It is given to you. Then he says apavritam. Sorry. So he expands apavritam means open. He says, so this was a word that I didn't know. So he says, Chodha titaka patam. Chodha titaka patam. I didn't know this verse before. And I looked it up in the Hindi translation. He says, Phatak. This is, in Hindi there is a word Phatak. And we used to do this all the time. When there is a big, the door is just called Dwaram. But suppose there is a huge gate, like in the outskirts of the property. I also have a gate to keep outside people up, and this electronic gate. And it's not just a door, it's a very solid, that gives me so many problems. Every day the electronics goes out, I have to figure it out and so on. So it's a huge, so this is what is in Hindi called Phatak. Phatak means gate. So he says, Chodhatika Patam. That's why I understand that this from this Hindi Phatak is from this Patam. Swargadwaram, Swarga Prapti Dwara Bhutam, Yuddham Idrisham Sukhinaha, Swarga Sukhinarthinaha, Dhanyaha Kshatriyaha, Punyena Labhante. He says that the gate of heaven will be totally open, because on the gates of the Swarga, there is a person sitting there and saying, can you come in or not? And whenever you approach it, he says, sir, we've been waiting for you. Please come. So he says, in other words, you are sure to go to heaven. If you were to die. And he says this kind of a war is very difficult for a Kshatriya. For a person who has chosen the role of becoming a leader of army and so on and so forth, this is a great opportunity. So this is the carrot. Then comes the stick, number 33. Atha che tvam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi. He says, but in case you do not participate in this sangramam, dharmyam sangramam means a war which is based on dharma, which is superimposed on you. If you don't do that, tataha swadharmam kirtim chahitva papam avapsyasi. So he says, in that case, you will incur certain unpleasant things, and all the unpleasant things as a result of your decision not to fight are given in the next 4 or 5 verses up to 37. Tatah swadharmam kirtim chahitva papam avapsyasi. So first of all, you have a kirti. Kirti means to gain a certain well-being by doing swadharma. Swadharma means whatever role that is being given to you and you have chosen it yourself. If you don't do that, tata swadharmam kirtim chahitva papam avapsyasi. You will gain. So this is a future tense, papam avapsyasi. So here, Swami Shankarananda ji says, so very first line, so there is a there is a progressive set of problems that will occur to you, which will be given in 5 verses, 33, 34, 35, 36, and 37. So this is a grouping. And the grouping of the verses says that progressively it will get worse for you. What are those? This is what we'll see. So here, instead of okay, let me just quickly give the Shankarananda ji's bhashya on this. So this is the start of the verse number 33 on page 82. Mumukshoho moksha sadhane vidyukte swadharme pramadaha ma astu. Please don't do pramada. Don't go away from it. Don't say, I don't care. Iti jnapitum swadharmataya kartavyena praptasya yudhyasya akarane pratyavaya akirtyadi anartha parampara ayasti iti Naya bhaya abhyasam arjunam swadharme pavartayati panchabhihi. I won't explain all the words, but the word panchabhihi means through 5 verses, this kind of set of problems will come to you. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Number 34. Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayashyanti tesh avyayam sambhavitasya cha akirtim maranaditi rachyate. He says, first of all, you will have akirti. Akirti means that your whole others' feelings towards you will become very negative. Akirtim cha api bhutani kathayishyanti te avyayam. So they will start to they will berate you. The whole society, will, if you're in the current environment, through emailing and through this, that, or the other, people will say, this is a person that ran away from the war. And that news will come to you, and you will not be a happy person. Because right now you're not thinking of that, but here's what will happen. If you walk away from something which you are supposed to be doing, people are not going to forgive you, and it will reach your ears. You will also begin to see, my God, I didn't realize that people expected me to do this. So this is number one. Then, next number 35. Bhayat ranad uparatam mansyante tvam maharathaha yesham chatvam bahumata bhutva yasyasi laghavam. This word laghavam is an interesting one. So laghavam here, laghu means, the word laghu and guru. It is given in, these are the two ends of, so guru means heavy and laghu means light. Guru means complete and laghu means incomplete. Guru means full and laghu means just a small portion of it, like laghu nyasa. So there is a complete nyasa which could be called guru nyasa. Usually I don't find the word guru nyasa, it means nyasa, means a complete nyasa. But then you have a laghu nyasa, which means just a small one. There is not a problem in calling it laghu. Here, laghavam, laghu means people will slight you. People will slight you. Like, when a person is well regarded, that would be called guru. Guru means that he is full, he or she is substantive. It's real. Whereas laghu means one you say, what kind of a person is he? I cannot believe it. He just, and so that is what is called laghavam. He says, Bhayat ranad uparatam mansyante tvam maharatha yesham chatvam bahumata bhutva yasyasi laghavam. So here, if you look at Swami Shankarananda's commentary, he says, Maharathaha Bahlikam Bhagavat Datta Saumadati Upadradadayaha Shura. So these are the names in Mahabharata of the very, very, very sharp and very leader-like people and well-regarded people. These are the leaders of the people. The Shuraha. And also ones who are very skilled in the fighting. the very forefront of the people, what will they think about you? And then he further gives it, evam tvam bhishmena dronena karnena cha anyaihi viraihi yodhum ashaktaya yad bhayena ranat uparatah arjuna natu dayaya iti mansyante nischeshyanti. So he says, what will happen is that you look at Bhishma, Drona, Karna, etc., who are well engaged in the war, you know what they will say? They will not take that this is, oh my God, Arjuna had so much daya. So that's what he says, dayaya iti mansyante. Natu dayaya iti mansyante. They won't think that you came out with a compassion towards I don't want to kill. That's not how they're going to look at it. They are going to say, my God, out of his fear of people, he ran away. That's what he's saying. He says, Tvam bhishmena dronena karnena cha anyaihi viryaihi, even others also, yodhum ashaktataya tad bhayena ranat. You are incapable of fighting, and because of the fear of fighting, you ran away. This is what they are going to think about it. They are not going to appreciate the fact that you have a sort of like a compassion towards them. That's not how they're going to do that. You know, this is exactly how people are going to view you. So that's the meaning of the word 35. Bhayat ranad uparatam mansyante. They will think that you ran away from the fight. Maharathaha yesham cha tvam bahumataha bhutva yasyasiti laghavam. So people will say, oh my goodness, I don't know how we misunderstood. We thought he was a real person. There is no substance to him. Laghavam, laghuhu. Yeah. So he explains the word laghuhu, which I won't go into this, but I think I've already given you the feeling of what laghu means in this particular one. So that's yasyasi laghavam. You will obtain a reputation of being not a powerful person. He is just a person who ran away. That kind of a feeling would be. And so this is slowly becoming worse in that. So your life will become incapable. You won't be able to really continue your life as you were thinking of if you don't follow through with what is your duty at this time. Then number 36. Avachya vadanscha bahun vadishyanti tava ahitaha nindantas tava samarthyam tato dukkhataram nukim. He says, number 36, which is the penultimate one, and those here, introducing that, number 36. Introducing this one, Swami Shankarananda says on page 85, the very first verse of the introduction of number 36. Vidya Kulashila Dharma Karma Bhihi Pratishtham Gatasya Akirtihi Dukkham Tato Api Adhikam Dukkham Avamatihi Tato Api Adhikaram Dukkham Pratyaksha Dushanam Idamiti Aha Avachya Vadanscha. So now he gives the progressively worse things that the society will associate you with. So he says, for a person who is interested in knowledge, in belonging to a good jati, a good classification, including your family and so on, and then to obtain a certain place in the form of dharma versus adharma. You always wanted to be on the side that you are always thinking of the right things to do. So dharma and adharma, pratistham gatasya, the one who wants to resort to dharma versus adharma. So for that person, akirti is dukkham. Isn't it? If you always think of yourself as a person who has been working all your life to be a good person, but if people start talking about you as, my God, this guy is a false person. He doesn't understand the right from wrong and so on. What kind of a person is that? Is that not going to give you a problem? And they'll all report to you. They will all talk about it. So this is akirti. This is number one. Akirti means that your reputation, I think that's the word I want to look for. Your reputation will be spoiled. Number one. More than that, so now look at the second one. So I'll read it again. Vidya Kula Shila Dharmam Karma Bhihi Pratishtham Gatasya Akirtihi Dukkham. So that akirti, the lack of kirti, lack of reputation, is a dukkha. Tato api adhikam, even more than that, dukkham avamatihi. Avamatihi means insult. One is the lack of your reputation. More than that will be an insult. And what is the insult? We saw that bhayat ranaduparatam mansyante tvam maharathaha, that all these people will insult you by saying, you know why? What happened to him? He really was afraid. When push came to shove, he got scared. This is called apamanaha avamatihi. Avamatihi means apamanaha, means an insult. So this is more than akirtihi. Then comes the next one. Tato api adhikaram dukkham pratyaksha dushanam. Even worse than that, he says, is pratyaksha dushana, means they will, if supposing you say, I don't care about my reputation, I can do without it, it's okay. Pratyaksha dushanam means they will talk to you in person. That's what pratyaksha means. It's not anumanam. You're not imagining that things will be bad, this, that, or the other. That's not what's going to happen. They will actually talk to you in person, in your own. It's like going to some place and people will say, hey, that guy, you know what he did? He ran away. And you can hear it. So this is what is called pratyaksham. So this one is, he says, tato api adhikaram tukham pratyaksha dushanam ityaha avatyavadan. This is number 36. This is number 36. He says, avatyavadans, one you don't want to hear. It is not worth repeating. Those kinds of words they will use to describe you. Avatyavadanscha bahun vadishyanti tava ahitaha nindantas tava samarthyam tato dukkhataram lokim. He says, when that happens, can't you visualize how much problems it will give you? You who are just trying to be a sadhu and say, I don't want to kill anybody, this, that, or the other. Forget about that. Your life will become hell because everybody will say, what kind of a person is this? So there is a progression. So the progression was akirti. Then the next one was apamana. And the third one is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means right in your front of you. They will not be afraid to give you words that are unbearable to you. So that's what he says. Then this whole thing is summarized in the last verse of this grouping, which I promised. He says, this is a summary of number 37. So he says, Hatova prapsyasi swargam jitva bhokshase mahim tasmat uddishta kaunteya suddhaya krita nishchayaha. So he says, now he goes back to the carrot in summarizing. He says, therefore, if you are unsuccessful in winning a war which you sincerely tried to do with your capabilities, hatova means if you were to if you were to get killed in the process, prapsyasi swargam. As I've told you, that the laws of which is really the truth. I think I mentioned that in the last few classes also, that soldiers who die in doing the work of the whole nation, their life is well protected and they reach heaven immediately. Immediately means, heaven means that it's not permanent, but you will have some good times. So that's what he says, Hatova prapsyasi swargam jitva bhokshase mahim. And if you were to win, either way, you are a big winner. If you were to win, jitva bhokshase mahim, then the whole world will be at your disposal. What will you not be able to gain? The goodness of the reputation, money, and people will follow you. You will be the great leader of the people because you vanquished the bad. Therefore, he says, Tasmat uttishta kaunteya, get up. Because in the beginning we saw before verse number 11 that Arjuna had taken off his own, he was well versed with all the weapons, but he took them off and he sat down and he says, I don't want to fight. I cannot go along with this. So this is where the Krishna is now telling, get up. You cannot just sit down and just be a weak person. Recognize your strength, and if you want to reach all the way up to the top, then you fulfill your promise of your life and then keep on inquiring and you will reach the very best. Tasmat uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya kritanishchayaha. Make your kritanishchayaha means that recognize the very nature of the goodness of this war and continue to lead the Pandavas against the Kauravas, and also in any time that you will have later, then keep on studying. So this is the second reason for not feeling bad about yourself, which is Vyavaharika Sat. So the first one is Paramarthika Sat, and then the Vyavaharika Sat also has a purpose that if you lead your life well, that allows you to inquire into the very subtlety of who you are in a better way. So that closes a section of the Bhagavad Gita, and in the short time that we have I think 5 or 6 more classes before we wind up this particular one. We will start a new topic from next time, which will be number 38. Sukha dukkhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yudhyaya yujyasva naiva papam avapsyasi. And so we will look into that. I want to see if there is something that I missed in terms of Swamiji's bhashya. I didn't underline anything, which means that when I want to say something, that I underline these for myself. Don't see anything, so I think we're pretty much done. So with that, I close the class. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Very good. Thank you all for attending. Good. Virendra, so I am almost ready to send out an email as soon as I get some time. I've been just a lot of things going on. I will send you the list of Swami Akhandananda ji's Hindi books that I got from India when I went there a couple of months back. They have all arrived and they are with me. And there's a long list of books that we have. But to answer your question, Aparoksha Anubhuti, I have 25, I'm keeping one for myself, so 24 copies. That's the most copies of any book out of these. Other ones are all like 5 or 10. So I have 24 copies of Aparoksha Anubhuti. So out of these, because I'm going to be using the entire Aparoksha Anubhuti as the subject of my retreat text in Sailorsburg next month, as suggested by Swami Viditatmananda. So two things are going on. One is that Swami Viditatmananda is now completed a book on Aparoksha Anubhuti based on his own lectures, his own discourses. And that book is going to be printed very soon. And I talked to him on the phone about a week back, and he told me that it will be available. He will bring it with him when he comes from India very shortly. So he will bring some copies for the attendees of the retreat. My plan is that for the attendees of the retreat, we will give 2 books to them. One is Swami Akhandananda ji's book, which is this one, which is the one that I've been using. I have a new version of that now. This is an old book. So for Hindi-speaking for Hindi-speaking people that are attending the retreat, they'll get a copy of this, and all others will get a copy of Swamiji's English book on Aparoksha Anubhuti. So I'm going to take about 15 or so. 9 more will be left here for people that are not going to the ashram. And I'm going to be sending out an email giving you the list of all these books. And then based on what you want, and also I want to make sure that the people who had asked for it first, and also I know they're Hindi speaking and so on, I will decide on who gets what. All that will happen in the next week to 10 days. I have already finished the listing of it last night, and I'll just form an email and send it to you as soon as possible. So that's the situation with the Aparoksha Anubhuti, and also with the some of the other books, including the Mandukya Karika, that books that we have. Now, if we don't have enough books for you, because when I went to India, I just wanted to get a sampling of that for this, then we can get some more books from India. And for those of you that are Hindi speaking and can read Devanagari, can understand Hindi, I highly recommend getting multiple copies, not just all the books, but some of the books from Swami Akhandananda. I've been trying to there is a address in Mumbai that is the main source, which I've been trying to get, and their timings are very strange. They are open only from 11 to 6. So that means 10:30 at night to 5:30 in the morning. And I've tried it 2 or 3 times and they don't pick up the phone. So we need to really get in touch with them and get the rest of the books done. So hopefully we will get that done soon. Okay. All right. Very good. I will hopefully see you next week. Hari Om.